Well, on to international news, and Brits came out in their numbers this weekend to greet the new king. A grand coronation ceremony seeing King Charles III being crowned for the first time in 70 years. So how did the weekend celebration go? Perhaps more importantly, what's the sentiment like of the new royals in Britain, and what are the expectations from King Charles? Well, let's bring into the conversation a good morning to our UK correspondent, Julia Chapman. Very busy over the weekend, so I'm sure the royal hangover for many of the crowds there has finally begin to subside. Julia, morning. Let's just talk about reaction to the coronation. An awful amount of money globally televised. What was your sense? Welcomed or not so welcomed?
I think certainly the overwhelming feeling after this weekend was one of celebration. Most Brits did seem to enjoy the celebrations going on to mark this momentous occasion, 70 years in the making for King Charles. Not everyone in the UK necessarily supports the royal family, and ahead of the coronation, polls suggested there was about a 50-50 split as to whether people would be watching. But even those who weren't certainly have made the most of what is a bank holiday weekend here in the UK. There have been events all around the country, street parties in the community on Sunday after the weather improved following a pretty rainy coronation day on Saturday. And today the emphasis shifts to service and volunteering, which is what the royal family is promoting, trying to encourage everyone to get out into their community and do some charity work in the hopes that they will continue to do so beyond coronation weekend. But I think certainly the feeling is that this was a big event that went off well, and most people are welcoming the new king.
And I can't help but imagine over in the UK, Julia, there's been a lot of interest, particularly in this coronation. One, obviously because of just new technology and more televised, but we have to go back to shows like Netflix and The Crown, the book coming out from Prince Harry just a short while ago, Spare, so a lot of attention also on who was there and who wasn't there. Let's start with who was there, of course, Queen Consort Camilla, but Prince Harry himself, it seems, the sense I get, jetting in just in time and then right afterwards jetting out. He wasn't even there for the official wave on the Mall, was he? He was long gone by the time the family came out on the balcony.
That's right. It was a flying visit from Prince Harry. Of course, he's got quite a lot of tension in the family between him and his brother and his father after he stepped back from royal life a couple of years ago, moving to California with his wife Meghan and their 2 children. But he was there for the coronation. Meghan had also been invited but declined to attend. Part of the reason for that may have been that it was their son Prince Archie's 4th birthday on Saturday, coinciding with the coronation, so she chose to stay in California with the children. But Prince Harry didn't really play much of a role in the ceremony itself. He was sitting a couple rows back from his brother Prince William, the heir to the throne, who was very prominent. We didn't see the two interact at all, and of course that comes after Prince Harry's memoir Spare was published, and in very unsparing detail he outlined some of the difficulties that he and his brother have gone through over their lifetimes, which the palace would have preferred to have kept secret. So definitely a lot of attention on Prince Harry and the role that he did or didn't play. He wasn't involved in the procession after the coronation. It's thought that he went straight home to California after the event.
So then the sense that we're also getting from having watched this from all the way down here in South Africa, Prince Harry didn't play an official role in this. This was more of an appearance by the younger brother, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. That is definitely the interpretation. He didn't have any particular role to play in the ceremony itself. Unlike his brother, Prince William, unlike other royals, indeed, Princess Anne, who is the brother of King Charles, she followed along in the procession on horseback. The Duke of Edinburgh, the younger brother of King Charles. Prince Andrew, of course, we saw also alongside Prince Harry playing a much more muted role in the ceremony for various reasons, but certainly it was one where we were not seeing Prince Harry playing any major role, as we may have expected him to have done so had he not stepped back from royal life in 2020.
And let me just ask this, a last question as I say goodbye to you, Julia. So what is the role of the king moving forward now? Certainly a new world we live in, a new view, as you touched on, for the royals and the royal family. What's the expectation from the king then? What's the country expecting from him?
Well, there are certainly a lot of expectations. Of course, for many people, the monarchy was represented by Queen Elizabeth II, and now that she is gone, there are a lot of questions about the relevance of the monarchy in the modern era, whether King Charles will be able to rally as much support for the institution as his mother did. There are certainly polls that suggest that he hasn't been able to do so far, although his own personal popularity has rebounded somewhat from a few months ago. But everyone will be watching to see what kind of king Charles will be. Of course, when he was the Prince of Wales, he was quite a campaigner. He championed environmental causes, charity work. He was pretty outspoken for a royal, and that is something that the monarch, is simply not expected to do. There have been questions this morning as to whether public perception of the role is changing, whether people would actually welcome more, if not political intervention, more outspokenness from the monarch himself to explain what his personal views are, since he has been the heir apparent for such a long time. We already know quite a lot about what he thinks. Many people suggesting that there's no point in him hiding it now that he is the monarch.